Morning, Sam. Thanks for joining us today. We're just going to have a quick look back on Brighton's 2-1 defeat against Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium last Saturday. It was a really poor first half, Sam. It could really, what could have gone wrong did go wrong for them in terms of an injury to Jack Hinchelwood. Then Maxime de Kuyper went off. They were 1-0 down. Obviously, they fought back early in the second half. Karamatoma header, but then a penalty from Semenyo in the second half sealed Brighton's second loss of the season. What did you make of that performance at the Vitality? All a little bit frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah, very frustrating day at the office for Brighton. As you say, it was such an unlucky kind of first half in the sense that obviously they've lost two key players really to injury. Obviously, it seemed like Jack Hinchelwood kind of twisted his ankle almost, or he had a bit of a foot injury where he's kind of just planted his foot into the turf, and it's obviously been a bit of a twist or something's gone wrong there, and he's not been able to carry on, which was literally 3 minutes into the game, so it's the worst possible start for Brighton there. And then obviously, as you say, Maxime de Kuyper as well, bit of a shove in the back from Semenyo, straight to the advertising boardings, and he obviously wasn't able to continue from that. But before any substitution could be made, obviously Semenyo's gone up the other end, and he's obviously teed up Alex Scott for the opener. So a bit of controversy there, and I don't think Hurzeler was too pleased about it. He
wasn't. No, he
didn't say too much. He just kind of left it open to interpretation, but it was very clear that he wasn't happy, and he obviously said that everyone could kind of see what happened, and he obviously didn't want to say anything to get himself into.
He didn't want to get a fine, did he? So
no, no. He very cleverly gave his opinion without actually saying it in that sense. But I understandably frustrated because it did seem a bit unnecessary from Semenyo, to be honest, and he did look apologetic afterwards, but it wasn't needed. Didn't need to shove him in that manner. And then obviously he's gone up the other end and got the assist for the goal. Really frustrating from a Brighton point of view. I think it's obviously a header from Lewis Dunk that was kind of only half cleared, and then obviously picked the ball up on the edge of the box, and Scott was able to find a really good finish. And I felt like Brighton did respond really well, actually, and obviously got back into the game. Yankuba Minter was really lively. And obviously, it was his cross that was headed in by Matoma at the back post, and you feel that Brighton could then really build from that. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and obviously they gave away that penalty, which is a bit of a calamity, wasn't it? Lewis
clumsy penalty, and as you say, it came at a time where they were just on top and could have got back into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously Lewis Dunn gave the ball away in the middle of the park, and then Van Heck has kind of put a leg out, a bit of a clumsy challenge, and gave the referee no real option but to point to the spot, really, which was frustrating. And obviously Semenyo stepped up to put it away, and he's in such great form. You wouldn't have expected him to miss. And obviously it just continues Bournemouth's great start to the season that they've had, that we discussed about pre-match. I know Brighton's record against Bournemouth was good, and they'd won several. I think it was 2 in a row, looking for a third in a row. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be on the day, and Bournemouth have continued their fine run of form at the start of the season.
Yeah, it was a shame. One of the calls that Hurzeler made before the match, Sam, had some of the fans sort of sparked some debate. It was James Milner starting ahead of Carlos Baleba. I can kind of see why he did it, because Baleba's been way off the pace, hasn't he? He's been nowhere near his best so far this season. Just came back on international duty. Where do you sit on that one? It was
a strange one, wasn't it? Yeah, I think obviously Baleba has obviously been heavily linked to Manchester United in the summer, and you do wonder if maybe it's not turned his head, but maybe just affected him a little bit.
It's unsettled him, isn't it? It must
unsettled him a little bit. Taking his eye off the ball a little bit, maybe. Not too sure, obviously. This is pure speculation from my part, without wanting to assume what's going on there. But something's definitely changed in Baleba, because this season he's not been himself. And even when he came on against Bournemouth, it was not the best of cameos, shall we say. I've seen quite a lot of quite a lot of stick for him online. It wasn't his finest hour, 100%. But he's such a quality player that I back him to get back to what he was doing last season, and to really just improve and only get better, because we've seen kind of how good he is and how good he can be. And at the end of the day, he's still so young, but I think you're still you can't really kind of be shocked to see maybe a kind of an off day for him. I think it's just we've come to expect such consistency from from him that perhaps it's a bit of a surprise to see him playing the way he is at the moment. So that could be why obviously Hurzeler's gone for the experienced player in James Milner. I think it's his first start in over a year. So it was good to see him get that opportunity. Obviously, he scored that penalty against Man City, before the international break. And I think he did well, really. I think there's nothing wrong with Milner's performance at all.
I agree.
I think he was really solid and kept the ball ticking over really nicely. And he's just always so reliable, really, isn't he, James Milner? So there's definitely no concerns about that pick from Hurzeler. But I can see why there'd been some kind of raised eyebrows, should we say?
It was an easy sort of target to go for, wasn't it? Like, why is this 39-year-old playing instead of a 100 million player who Man United want? But I don't think it's that simple. I think Baleba's been way off, below his best, and I think Milner offers a consistency, and he needed sort of a reliable presence in that midfield. And although he's 39, he had sort of Jack Hinchelwood alongside him, and then Yassine Ayari after Hinchelwood was, off within a minute. But he sort of had the legs in alongside James Milner, and I thought that was quite a sensible call, all things considered. I think Milner's still more than capable of playing sort of a 45 minutes, 60 minutes in the Premier League. So an interesting one there. But also after the result, there's been a lot of talk on social media, of course, about Hurzeler's future. Some fans are saying, they want him gone already, and I just think it's far too early to. I just did a piece on Sussex World about it on just now. I think it's far too early to even talk about it. I don't think there's any serious consideration at the club internally or about this. I think they've invested too much in this project to blow it away so soon. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not the first time that we've heard this. I think there's been a few times before where Brighton have had a bad defeat, or one that's obviously left frustration, and there's been some talk of whether Hurzeler is the right man. But I think he's proved time and time again that he can beat the best teams in the league. I think you only have to look literally the game before the international break. Obviously beat Man City, and they've obviously started the season below par, but then straight after that they've gone and beat obviously Manchester United 3-0, and they looked really impressive. Man City, Haaland looked at his best, and I know obviously Man United have got their issues as well, but I think it just goes to show that Brighton's such a strong outfit as well, that Man City did really struggle to get over the line in that game, and obviously ended up losing it in the end. And I know this wasn't an ideal result against Bournemouth, but as we've discussed, Bournemouth are in such good form and probably deserve more than they got against Liverpool, which is the only game they've actually failed to win this season. They completely outplayed Spurs, who have also had a really solid start to the season. Obviously, we saw them easily beat West Ham as well. Thomas Franks had a great start. So, I think Bournemouth have definitely had one of the kind of the most impressive starts of the season. So I don't think there's any shame in losing this match, really, especially away from home. And also, you look at everything that went against Brighton on the day with the injuries, as we've mentioned, and obviously just the penalty decision that, could have gone either way. So it's real fine margins. Even Areola at the end of the game was kind of saying that it was a fine margins kind of match, could have gone either way. Both teams had their moments in it. It was not one to be concerned about from
I agree. And I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen a lot this season as well, where you're going to have these matches where they can go, either way. I think with the exception of Arsenal and Liverpool, maybe, I think all teams are going to drop points. Every match is going to be almost a 50-50, isn't it? Because the teams are so competitive. I think it's going to be one of the most competitive Premier Leagues, for forever, really. I think it's got 100%. Potential to be. So no, I think the talk is far too early, but it does make this Tottenham game at home, not only in terms of 3 points, but in terms of how the fan base sort of feels towards Hurzeler. I think it's going to be a big one, isn't it? Tottenham at home this Saturday.
Yeah, there should be a really good match. I think, as I've just said, Tottenham have had a really solid start to the season, barring that defeat against Bournemouth. Obviously, they've beaten Man City as well, 2-0 away from home. They had the 3-0 win on the opening day against Burnley. and then obviously they've just beaten West Ham 3-0 as well. So they've had a really solid start, not conceding many goals at all. They've only conceded just the one goal this season, and that was that Bournemouth game. So it does really go to show the form that they're in and the problems they can pose. And as we discussed, Thomas Frank is such a top manager. He did such a brilliant job at Brentford, and obviously got the move to Spurs, and he's really proven his worth as a real top quality coach, and he's getting the best out of these Spurs players that obviously Ange Postecoglou wasn't really able to do. I know there's been a couple of signings, but it's been such a quick turnaround from a Spurs point of view. You're really seeing kind of really good format players that we weren't necessarily seeing perform last season. And it would be definitely a really big challenge for Brighton to get something out of this game. But it's important that they do respond quickly from this Bournemouth defeat, and I back them to do that. Really, obviously they'll be at home. Obviously got the crowd behind them, and hopefully we'll see some goals back at the Amex to put this Bournemouth defeat in distant memory, really. And we've seen the Man City win gives the blueprint of what Brighton can do against the best teams. No, it's going to be tough against Thomas Frank's team. Even his Brentford teams were so hard to play against, and now that he's got better players as well, I think they are going to be a tough match. And again, it's another 50-50, isn't it? Really, it's going to be so many of these throughout the season. So I think it's just a case of sort of getting buckled in and seeing how it goes, and hopefully Brighton can just be a little bit more resolute and not so easy to score against, and I think they're going to have a good chance of getting a good result against Tottenham. So
definitely.
But thanks for going through that, Sam. That's always good to speak to you and get your thoughts on Brighton's progress or lack of progress this season. So but hopefully that can all change shortly. But thanks again, Sam. Much appreciated.
Cheers, Derren.
Thank you.